Thank you very much, ma'am. I'd request our guest of honor to share her experience about the book. She's an actress, model, producer, and social worker who is a prominent face in the Bollywood industry. She won the title of Miss Asia Pacific International in 2000 after being crowned Femina Miss India Asia Pacific 2000. She made her debut with Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein in 2001. She has done remarkable work in films including Das, Lagera Munna Bhai, and Sanju, among many others. She has also produced some amazing movies and web series. She has been involved with Cancer Patients AIDS Association and Spastic Society of India and has worked extensively with the government of Andhra Pradesh to spread HIV awareness and prevention of female feticide. She also took initiative with Book Deke Dekho, a campaign by Radio Mirchi initiated to collect books from the underprivileged children. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ms. Dia Mirza.
Good evening, friends. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunity to launch this book in Ahmedabad a few days ago. And obviously, before launching the book, I read the book. And I have some thoughts to share about the book with all of you. I hope you'll all read it because as a woman, I found a lot of inspiration in the book and also found a lot of deep connections, meaningful connections with so many of her experiences, which I think we share. ये ऐसी किताब है जो I mean, one basic question that everybody would ask is, why would anybody want to tell their life story? I guess because human beings have created a world that is completely and entirely moved by stories, you know, and every single one of us has a powerful story. And there are a few fortunate ones like Dr. Manjula Shroff, whose story gets told. And not for no reason. Her story has been told for good reason. She herself has acknowledged the fact that she hopes that young people and everybody who reads the book discovers that the one thing that guided her and continues to guide her in life is her own inner voice. And that for me was the most powerful, part of this narrative, because wherever she was challenged by life, by circumstance, by situation, she always counted on her own unique voice, which has paved her story, but also has made her story authentic and real, and her story is her own entirely. It's one that she has crafted for herself in life. और बहुत कम औरतों को मौका मिलता है ये कहने का और ये करने का, because something or the other always dictates and determines how our life should be led. But in her case, she's been fortunate enough to always decide how she wanted to move forward and which direction she wanted to go in. I'm going to use this opportunity to read a few excerpts, my favorite parts from the book. Of course, they're favorite because of many reasons, but I think they also kind of give us all insight into what this book is about. What's nice about this book is, of course, it's 19 chapters, but आप कभी कोई भी पेज खोल के उतना हिस्सा पढ़ के किताब रख सकते हैं. You know, आजकल लोग पूरी किताब पढ़ने में people feel lazy. Most people don't do it. I love reading a full book, but a lot of people don't do it, which is fine. So for people like that, they can open to any page and read a section and find something meaningful, find something beautiful, find something that resonates with them deeply. So there's this chapter called Homing In, and this is a part where she talks about looking back. Some incidents that change you forever. They weaken you or strengthen you depending on their immediacy, their time and situation. She speaks about losing her mother at a very young age and how that impacted her. I'm going to read out an excerpt from this section. Somewhere, I realized I would have to live on my own terms and shape my life in a way my mother would be proud of. I wanted to do something meaningful. This desire often drove me from one step to another. I wanted to prove my worth and be everything that my mother could not be. She was like a beautiful porcelain doll kept inside a palace, meant only to follow, never to lead or take tough decisions. Somewhere that generated the strength and drive in me to go out there into the world and live a real life, one that was in sharp contrast to hers. It was mentioned very briefly that Dr. Manjula Shroff comes from the royal family in Odisha, and obviously there was many diktats. She doesn't talk about too many of them, but I'm sure there were many, many things, rules, regulations that the women of the family would have to follow. Her mother followed each of them. She did too, but not at the cost of losing herself. And I think that is the most powerful part about her journey, that she was willing to respect traditions, respect family, but not ever do it if it was disallowing her from becoming the woman that she was meant to be. है कि नहीं? इन्होंने ना अपना पैलेस छोड़ के ये दिल्ली में रहने चली गई अपनी दोस्तों के साथ, और ज़िंदगी में पहली बार लोकल बसेस पे ट्रैवल करने लगी. कोई रास्ता नहीं है, तब तो गूगल मैप्स भी नहीं थे, कोई रास्ते का ठिकाना नहीं था. ये तो कभी इनको बताना भी नहीं पड़ता था कि किसी को कि कहाँ जाना है, सबको पता होता था और सीधे डेस्टिनेशन ले चले जाते थे. इमेजिन लिविंग इन juggies in Delhi after Barsatis, after living in a palace and finding her way. Very deeply altering experience, and I think it did her a lot of good, as terrifying as it was, because I think that was the first time in life where she realized कि अगर आगे बढ़ना है किसी भी इंसान को, तो डर के साथ आपको दोस्ती करनी होगी. And you have to do whatever you really believe you need to do despite the fear. Should I read out working women working with women?
Yes.
Okay. Being a woman, and I'm sure a lot of women in the audience here will recognize this. Being a woman and a working woman, I have naturally come across both men and women co-workers at all levels. I have seen women in government sectors and higher offices, as social workers and organization leaders. Women indeed are a compassionate lot. In my area of work, I have enjoyed ideating, planning, and executing various projects with women, and often been pleasantly surprised by their drive and involvement. It is true women are natural multitaskers and play their part with sincerity. Their diligence and ability to be good managers makes it a smooth sail when situations get challenging, when deadlines come calling. At some time, there are women who one needs to watch out for, the kind who are consumed and driven by negativity. This is when one realizes it takes all kinds to make the world, but what goes for both genders is that men can be sugar-coated and dual-faced too. The sooner one understands and works around this with magnanimity, the easier the ride will be. I think it's a very honest thing to say. We have all kinds of people in our lives. So there's this lovely space called Into, where she talks about about nature and how that impacts her. All of you who know me know how much I love nature. And this chapter is called Out in the Open. So Dr. Shroff loves the outdoors. She's very adventurous. She's sporty. She does all kinds of things, despite being an entrepreneur and having a very busy and a very full life. But I think she makes her life even more full by pursuing hobbies and trying to become the best version of herself. I have to mention here, though, Anurita, I said this in Ahmedabad, I'm going to say it here. When I read the book, I felt like I was having a conversation with Dr. Shroff, because the way you've written the book makes you feel like you're speaking to someone and you're hearing them share their thoughts with you, as opposed to reading a story. And it was very, very interesting, because it's rare to have that that feeling that you're having a personal chat with someone.
Should I tell you in one line why it happened and how it happened? That was possible because when I was listening to Manjula Pooja Shroff tell me about her story, being a journalist, we meet so many actors. So I felt that how would it be? So I tried to behave like an actor who has to live that life. So for a long time, when I would talk to her, I would try to get into her shoes कि अगर अभी वो ये कर रही होती, अगर मैं दिल्ली में ऐसे अकेले होती तो मैं क्या करती? It was difficult for me to imagine because, like I said, protected, sheltered life. But वो acting वाले role में जैसे सब आप actors बोलते हैं ना कि I got into the skin of the character. So I actually got into the skin of the character, and that is why I think आपको ये feeling आया है.
It was lovely. Great.
I'm so
fun.
happy that you noted it, and people back in Ahmedabad, everybody was saying that the way when Diya Mirza was there in Ahmedabad, everybody's gone quite crazy, and Manjula, like she said, आज तक बातें हो रही हैं, आज तक मुझे messages आते रहते हैं कि कितनी genuinely वो
I'm
पढ़
going
रही
back to the
थी.
book. This is not
No,
about
no,
me.
but इतना genuinely पढ़ रही थी. So for me as a writer of the book, it's honestly a very great compliment that somebody should be interested in how it is written. I'm honored.
Thank you. Okay, she's a nature lover just like me, and that makes this even more special. I've always been a city girl, even realized my dreams and aspirations in the city. But a part of my heart is unfailingly and eternally partial to the mountains, the forests, the flowing rivers. It is where I go for solace, to deal with issues and to think more clearly, to find strength and revitalize myself, to ponder and question, to find answers, to recharge. Nature has a unique quality. While its offerings remain the same for all, each person's takeaway varies as per their thinking, priority, and interaction. A mountain view could offer more joy than a ride in a fancy car. The waves of the sea could be more comforting than a palatial home. It is not for nothing that nature is known to be the greatest revitalizer. Getting in touch or allowing yourself to sync with nature is a step towards self-realization and untold joy. There are thoughts within and vibrations beyond that amalgamate to create serenity that is unparalleled. It is in the quietude of nature that you lose your concerns. It is the calmness of nature that enables you to de-stress, and the lap of nature where you find the true meaning and value of abundance. Nothing equals being around flowing waters amid green expanses of luscious forests or under vast open skies dotted with clouds. In fact, even imagining yourself in such spaces is comforting. अच्छा लगा ना सबको ये सुन के? But it's so true. It's a beautiful book. I hope many young people read it. I keep saying young because I think young people need mentors. They need people their own people to look up to. And as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's leading so many, educational institutions, I'm sure she's going to inspire that whole lot because they know her personally. They're going to get to know her even more personally. But for the rest of us, there's a lot to learn and a lot to enjoy in this book. So thank you. I hope you enjoy reading it, and I hope you spread the good word.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for those inspiring words. With that, I would like to open the floor for our media friends for a quick Q&A session.
हेलो दिया ma'am, you also attended success in a very young age. So do you feel for a woman it's more difficult to attain success, and there are a lot of social barriers, and what mantra you want to give to a person who is inspired by your success as such?
There's a very simple mantra offered in this book, which is Success Mantras and Musings. I think it would apply even for my life and my journey. Trust yourself. Believe in your own innate ability to know. There's a knowing that we're all born with. So tune into that, recognize it, respect it, and listen to it. The second thing is that success is not one moment of achievement. Success is about consistently pursuing the path of self-discovery. And